Welcome to TypeAware, where I, Nazir, will be your guide and teacher in our Illustrator tutorial series. Before we begin delving into the intricacies of Adobe Illustrator, there is a crucial aspect I believe must be addressed. You may have heard the question, is Photoshop good but Illustrator not that good? Or is Illustrator good but Photoshop not? The truth is, it is not a matter of one being better than the other, as they serve different purposes. Adobe, being the creator of both software, would not pit one against the other in a competition. It is important to keep in mind that these are two distinct software, each with their unique functions. Photoshop is primarily used for editing images, while Illustrator is geared towards creating vector illustrations. While we will delve deeper into the concept of vector and raster later on, for now, understand that Illustrator is the go-to software for designing logos, icons, and similar small graphics. As you master this software, the possibilities for design expand significantly. Flat design is currently a popular trend, and Illustrator has a vast scope in this field. As you learn this software, you will not only improve your design skills but also open up opportunities to earn money. Online platforms such as Fiverr and Upwork offer various opportunities to make money through Illustrator design work. However, it is essential to note that you must learn the software before venturing into earning money. With that being said, let us begin our journey by familiarizing ourselves with the Illustrator interface. If you have prior experience with Photoshop, you will find that the interface is somewhat similar. On the left side, you will find the toolbar, which we will be utilizing frequently throughout our tutorial series. The Illustrator interface is not only functional but also visually intriguing. The toolbar on the left side is a treasure trove of tools that you will use time and again for various tasks. The beauty of the interface is that you can move these tools around as per your convenience, and then place them back in their original position. On the right side, instead of the toolbar, you will find what is called panels. I highly recommend exploring the two arrows here, as they provide a more detailed view, but only if that doesn't cause any irritation. If you require more screen space, it is best to keep the panels closed. Now, let's start by creating a new file. The process of creating a new file involves deciding on certain parameters such as the size of the document and its properties. I am currently using Illustrator 2023, but even if you're using an older version, you will find similar options. There are options for custom sizes, as well as preset options for mobile devices, web, print, film and TV, and art and illustration. For example, you can choose the size for a postcard. If you go to the print side, you can select standard sizes such as A4 or letter size, and adjust the width and height accordingly. You can also change units for measurements, both here and within the new file. Once you have set the parameters, you can create the file. For now, I'm keeping the unit in inches. There are some more details on the bottom which we will discuss later, but for now, it is not necessary to delve into them as it may cause confusion. With that being said, let's create the file. As soon as you create the file, you will see a new document of the letter size that you selected. If you noticed, when creating a new file, another option called artboards also appeared. This is useful if you require multiple pages in your document. You can simply select how many pages you need, and as soon as you create the file, you will see a document with the specified number of pages. For now, I am closing this option. Let us begin anew, from this blank canvas. We shall start with the toolbar, and its array of tools. Notice the first tool, the one with the black arrow, it is called the Selection tool. Next to it, you'll find the Direct Selection tool, with its white arrow. But before we select, we must first create, and so we turn to the Rectangle tool. A tool that you may have used before in simpler programs, such as Paint. A simple click and drag will suffice to create a rectangle, but if you desire a square, press the Shift key and continue to drag. The size is of no matter, for it can be adjusted to be larger or smaller, yet still maintain its square shape. For a square is defined by its equal sides. But if you prefer, you may also click and input the dimensions yourself. And so, we embark on our journey of creation, starting with the simplest of shapes. And here, if I insert a width of 3 inches and a height of 4 inches, and click OK, a rectangle is born. But if I desire a square of 3 by 3 inches, it can be easily crafted. Do not fret, for mistakes can be undone with the simple press of Ctrl+Z. One must also be mindful of their other hand, for it will be put to use frequently, with the pressing of Ctrl+Shift, Alt, and combinations thereof. Now, the reason for our foray into shapes is to understand the selection tool. Let us take a small square, and with the selection tool, we select it. Notice the appearance of the bounding box, and the small squares within it, known as resize handles. It is important to note the difference between zooming and resizing. Zooming allows for a closer examination, while resizing alters the actual dimensions. The zoom tool, represented by a magnifying glass with a plus sign, can be used for zooming, and with the press of Alt, it transforms into a minus sign, allowing for zooming out. Or, one can simply press Alt and scroll their mouse for the same effect. The artboard can also be moved for a different perspective, but it is important to remember that this does not affect the objects within it. And with the resize handles, one can easily adjust the size of the selected object, but keep in mind that without any key press, it can be freely resized in any direction. But if you desire to keep the same proportion while adjusting the size, then press Shift. The advantage of this is that the ratio of width to height will remain unchanged. For example, if it is a rectangle like this one, and if it is resized with Shift, it will maintain its original proportion and can be made larger or smaller. Undo any mistakes with the convenient keyboard shortcut of Ctrl+Z. The selection tool also allows for movement of the selected object, placing it wherever desired. It also allows for rotation, by hovering just outside the resize handle and clicking and dragging. But if Shift is pressed while rotating, it will be restricted to 45-degree increments. Another useful task is the ability to make a copy of the object by dragging it while holding Alt. This allows for preservation of the original while making changes to the copy. Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V can also be used for copying and pasting respectively, but the added advantage of this method is the ability to place the copy wherever desired. A final shortcut worth mentioning is Ctrl+D, a very interesting one indeed. Ctrl+D repeats the previous task performed with the selection tool. For example, if an object is moved with the selection tool and Ctrl+D is pressed, the object will move in the same direction, angle, and distance as before. Be mindful to keep your hand on Ctrl+D, or the repetition will cease. When making a copy of an object with Alt, pressing Shift ensures that the copy is aligned straight. It should also be noted that Ctrl+D will repeat any task performed with the selection tool. For example, if a column of objects is selected and copied with Alt and Shift, and Ctrl+D is then pressed, an interesting pattern will be created. If one wishes to select all objects at once, the universal shortcut of Ctrl+A can be used. This shortcut works in other programs as well, such as a website or web page, and in Illustrator it will also select all objects. Alternatively, one can also use the selection tool to drag and select all objects. If you only wish to select a specific portion, then do so. And, if you desire to delete or move it, you are free to do so. For example, if you wish to select one row at the bottom, and another row here, you can do so by selecting one, then pressing Shift and dragging to the other, ensuring that both are selected while the rest remains unselected. Similarly, you can leave every alternate row and make your selection. By pressing Delete, the selected portion will be deleted. It is simple, with a little practice. Let us move on to other shapes, such as the polygon tool, with which you can create a hexagon with 6 sides. By clicking on the sides field, you can adjust the radius and number of sides, even creating a triangle if desired. By turning the scroll wheel on your mouse, the values will change. Take a copy of it with the selection tool and zoom in for a closer look. Now, what are you going to do with this polygon? Zooming out, I press Ctrl+D to select the entire shape and take a copy of it, but this time without pressing Shift, as I want to fit it inside the other shape. This can be done precisely by zooming in. Illustrator allows for a zoom of up to 6,400% in older versions and 64,000% in newer versions, allowing for detailed work. I have selected these two columns and taken a copy of it with Alt and Shift, ensuring that it is being copied in an aligned state. By pressing Ctrl+D, a beehive-like pattern is created. Feel free to resize the entirety as desired. At the bottom of the toolbar, there are two boxes, Fill and Stroke. Fill refers to the color inside the object, while Stroke refers to the outline of the object. To change the color of the stroke, select the stroke box and choose a color from the color panel or swatches. Similarly, the fill color can be changed by double-clicking on the fill box and selecting a color. To change the color of multiple shapes at once, select them with Shift and change the color in the color panel. This was a basic class, but in future classes, we will proceed to more advanced topics and discuss the Direct Selection tool, which is an interesting tool. I understand that some of the material covered in this class may have been basic for some, but my goal is to make sure that everyone has a clear understanding of the topics at hand. I want to take things slow and ensure that every detail is covered in depth. I hope that you found this class informative and beneficial, even if it may have been a bit tedious for some. I encourage you to practice and familiarize yourself with the tools and techniques discussed today. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out and ask. I am more than happy to answer any queries you may have. For those who wish to stay updated and continue learning with me, please consider subscribing to my channel. There is so much more to come, and I am excited to share it all with you. Thank you for joining me in this journey.